Welcome back everyone. So a common question I get is when picking individual stocks, how many should we own? So I'm going to be providing my thoughts there. Now as for my portfolio, you can see that I have a return of 4% at the moment, so slightly over £400. But you'll notice that I hold a lot of individual stocks. As I've mentioned in the past, this is close to 40. So you may be wondering, is this too many already? And if so, what is the actual number that we should be aiming towards? So how many stocks should we actually buy? Well, let's first assume that we just own one company. And let's also assume that we get really lucky and we buy into Tesla during the early stages. Now, if you were to put all your money into that one company and buy as many shares as possible, then without a doubt, should we realize those gains, then we would have made a really healthy profit. However, if you brought into a company that was less performant, then you could have lost a significant amount of your investment. So the risk to reward ratio is far greater when you own a small number of stocks. Of course, we have the potential to maximize gains if we focus on a small number of stocks, but we also run the risk of maximizing our exposure. Now, generally speaking, holding up to 10 different companies, that is argued to be risky for a long-term based investor. And so a more sensible option, and it's the general consensus out there, is to hold around 20 to 30 individual companies. What this provides you with is a sensible level of diversity while reducing the risk of having too much money within too few stocks. Now, in my case, I'm over that threshold already. But what I would argue is that I am reducing my risk even further, because when I look into the pie section, we can see the different sectors that I invest in. But if we take finance, for instance, my actual holdings within the finance sector composes of 4 different banks. So should one go under, then I reduce my risk if I was to hold just one of these companies. But for every sector that I own, if I hold, say, 4 stocks every time, then I'm going to own 4 times the number of companies. Now, of course, there is a limit to this approach. If I own, say, 1,000 stocks, then I'm really not going to be benefiting from the gains of any individual stock, because I'm now taking an average of all the companies that I own in terms of my profit or loss. Now, if we look at Berkshire Hathaway, they actually hold more than 60 different companies. Now, it's interesting because the likes of Warren Buffett has been quoted to state an investor should act as though he or she had a lifetime decision card with just 20 punches on it. And it simply means that if you could only buy 10 to 20 stocks throughout your entire lifetime, then you'd be very careful with which companies you would invest in. But as I mentioned, their portfolio consists of more than 60 different companies. And so even the top investors out there, they de-risk their portfolio by owning other companies. Right now, I don't actually have any plans to stop buying into new companies, but what I do plan to do is sell out of companies should they no longer maintain certain metrics that I believe to be important to me. So as a dividend-based investor, should dividends not be paid, that is an indicator to sell out. If the company increases their payout ratio, and it varies based on which sector the company is in. Roughly speaking, around 70% is very high, so that's another red flag. But I don't feel the need to sell any companies just because I'm at this 40 company threshold. And there's other investors out there who are holding up to 100. So it's all to do with your attitude to risk, whether you believe in a small number of companies are going to be extremely profitable. Most of us can't predict which companies will do well, so we spread our risk out. So the question I have for you all this week is, how many stocks do you own within your portfolio? Let me know in the comment section below. What I would say is for individuals, like myself included, who own ETFs as well, those ETFs are tracking an index which includes a range of different companies. Now, my portfolio mimics that behavior by owning the underlying company and selectively deciding which ones to add. That reduces the ongoing costs that an ETF has, but for the most part, they are quite similar in terms of what they're trying to achieve. So if you're someone out there that doesn't hold individual-based stocks, but you hold a range of ETFs, let me know what that number is as well. So on to some news now. We have a company named NDB, which stands for Nano Diamond Battery. This is their website right here. Well, they've actually created energy from recycled waste, which results in an emission-free battery providing thousands of years of charge. Now, as it stands right now, this is the first and only universal self-charging nanodiamond battery. Now, right now it's a proof of concept tested at Cambridge University, and they've been able to hold a charge of 40%, which is much more higher compared to commercial diamonds out there. And they have something called a collection efficiency, which in the past was 15%, so they've more than doubled this efficiency. So the actual commercial prototype, and they've got a couple of customers to test this out in the future, and it should be available later this year. And so to go into more depth here, we have a universal battery effectively. And so as you know, if you have, say, a phone or a laptop, you have to charge it up pretty much daily, or generally while it's in use. So just imagine for a second that we have this self-charging battery, which provides charge for the entire lifetime of the device. That's exactly what this company is demonstrating once their prototype is in place. Now, for me, this sounds like a game changer in terms of the energy sector. We can also see that NDB can power devices and machines of any size. And this is not just the example I gave with a laptop versus an iPhone. We're also talking about aircrafts, rockets, electric vehicles, and this all happens with no carbon emissions. That's because when we charge our phones, or when we use fossil fuels for an aircraft, we're not having to burn fossil fuels. And in terms of the generation of electric as well, there's no byproducts as a result. So this actual company, they're tying together the nanotechnology sector, nuclear science, and the diamond field as well. Now, when it comes to diamond-based technology, what normally happens is funding is from, say, the military or a private company that has connections with the military. And so a lot of the research happens at the academic level, which is just within university establishments. And so undergraduates at university will be studying these topics and performing research for the professors, etc. Now, this company focuses on all of that, but the whole goal is to have commercially available items. So the research that they've done and soon to be prototype, should this battery technology take place, this is going to be groundbreaking and something that has been deemed impossible in the past. So I don't know about you all, but it'd be amazing not to have to carry a wire with me to charge up the items that I use daily. But to be able to reduce your carbon footprint significantly, that really would be a game changer. Now, as with anything, this charge can last up to thousands of years, so longer than we will be around. But at some point in time, the device will stop working. But the lifetime that these provide is much longer than the battery technology that we currently have, given that lithium-ion batteries are constantly messing up. From my experience, I've had to change iPhone batteries and even laptop ones because they struggle to last. So they're all net positives with this company. Really hope they can pull it off. Now, if you're interested in this company, you can actually submit a form to express your interest to invest. I'm not sure what their process is for accepting or rejecting offers, but should you be interested, you can fill that out. It's something that I'll look into in the future. I'm definitely interested in this company. I'm going to be learning more. And if anyone out there does decide to fill out this form, let me know how the process goes. Now, for those that are new around here, I provide videos weekly. It'd be great if you can subscribe, hit that notification bell, etc. If you enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up. And with that said, I'll catch you in the next one.